Fellas, say goodbye to Chuck Sherman the boy. I am now a man. I highly recommend you join the club. We are doing the wild thing all night.
Acid house music.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sherm.
Sherman, I cook all this food. Is that all you gonna eat?
General Sherman realized and understood the importance of house music.
So, do you know anything about techno?
No.
Listen.
Yo, what's good, everyone? And welcome back to another brand new episode of Sherm in the Booth. I'm, of course, your host, Sherm, and today is Wednesday, December 1st, 2021, and this is episode 187. I hope everyone is having a great holiday season so far, and I hope you're also just as excited as I am for this episode because it's a big one. I am truly honored to have Autograf on Sherm in the Booth, and I had such a great time chatting with Michael, who's one of 3 members, a few weeks ago while he was at his place in Los Angeles. In episode 187, we got it all in and started by talking about their early inspirations and influences. Michael was born and raised in Chicago and has always had a passion for music. Originally a rock and punk fan, he went to tons of venues across Chicago and fell in love with the live music experience. He called it his intro to what an electronic dance music show can be like. Eventually, he started Midnight Conspiracy with his buddy Louis Kha, which saw a ton of success in the bass music scene, but they pivoted directions in 2014 and Autograf was born. Autograf is a new age pop indie house fusion group, not to mention probably 10 other genres, that's made up of Mikul Wing, Louis Kha, and Jake Carpenter, and boy are we glad they decided to start Autograf. Now of course we talked about the Autograf discography. It's filled with original productions, remixes, collaborations, and a ton of variety. We talked about the stories behind how some Autograf remixes came together, like their Odessa's All We Need remix and Avicii's Waiting for Love remix, and of course some of their original tracks like Dream, Metaphysical with Janelle Kroll, Move All Night with Sunburn and Cole, and of course their first album, Ace of You. Loved this portion of the interview. We also had a great discussion on NFTs and digital mediums. Autograf has been on the forefront of innovation when it comes to being an artist in the dance music industry. Michael walked us through exactly what an NFT is and how artists can use them to connect with their fans on every level. They actually just recently hosted a first-of-its-kind hybrid digital-physical concert with I'm Not Art here in Chicago, and it showcased physical representations of non-fungible tokens, aka NFTs. Super dope and cutting-edge stuff, and I'm really excited to see what they do with all this. When people talk about globally known dance music acts from Chicago, Autograf comes up every single time, and there's good reason for it. They consistently push the boundaries of sound and are a genuine and authentic act who loves to share their music with the world. As an Autograf fan, this one means so much, so thank you to Michael for taking the time to come on, and I can't wait to meet you and the rest of the team in person soon. Now let's get into it right now so you guys can hear their story for yourselves. This is episode 187 with Autograf. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to a big episode of Sherm in the Booth. I'm here with one of the members of Autograf, Michael. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Genuine pleasure. Really appreciate it. How you doing out there in sunny Los Angeles, sir?
That's doing pretty good. It's happy to be here with you, tuning in from across the country.
That's right. We were just catching up before we went live, and it's just incredible how many people out here in Chicago, of course, know who you are, but on a personal level. You are definitely one of those guys in the industry that's a man of the people. It seems like, one handshake away, you're never hard to reach. And shout out to our mutual friend Jaime for connecting us. We're out here podcasting, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. Lots of love to Chicago. It's my hometown. So
lots of love to Chicago. That's right. Actually, speaking of Chicago, I have a great question for you. And this is something that I asked Danny Deal. I always like to start off the interviews with something a little more probing. What is your favorite Chicago venue that's no longer around? Music venue, and why?
It's probably got to be the Mid, just because.
Got to be.
Just because that was like where we had some of our very first shows as Autograf was the Mid, and the whole team there was like really welcoming of us. And I think we opened up for Tycho out there. It was like our first Autograf show. So yeah,
wow.
It was awesome.
2014, like around that time.
Yeah, no, maybe a little later than that. Maybe like 2015 probably. Yeah, maybe like a year after that or so. But yeah, the Mid will be forever a place in my heart and the team from there.
Gosh, the mid was like, it is an institution. It always will be. And shout out to Phi, who really I don't want to say turned that place around because it always brought in great acts, but really made it a welcoming place. And the heart of the Midwest, got to have that attitude. And when I had him on a few years ago, we had a great conversation about Chicago, is about the people. And the mid brought in so many different types of acts. Like you said, Tycho, I mean, they would bring in techno, house, dubstep, trap. They had the Century Room where you could switch it up. And
I think their Friday nights there were just amazing because it was whatever kind of like music league went there. It was like always based on the artist they had. It wasn't like set to like a specific genre ever. So you had a different crowd coming through, and it was really about the music. So that's why I loved it there.
Definitely set the standards. I remember before I graduated college in 2015, I went there and they were like, you got to wear a button-down shirt and a suit jacket. I'm like, dude, I'm like 21 years old. I don't have that. Then the next year you show up in a graphic tee, since that's the popular style. And, they're just like, come on in. Shout out to Victory, actually. I'm sure you know him. And he
Gosh, I know him from Red No 5 when I first, which is another club that's been gone for a while now.
Yeah.
He was working there. I remember hanging out there. And then I saw Victory when I was last day. We played at Prism, and he was there. So it's good seeing him as well.
Yes, he's the man. He drives like the VIP party bus that picks up the DJs, and he just he's the perfect guy for that.
He is. He's got so much good energy. I love him. Yeah,
he does have great energy. So you mentioned you were from Chicago. Were you born in Chicago then?
I was born in Chicago. Yeah, on the north side in Lincoln Square. Yeah.
Lincoln Square, so actual Chicago. And I know there's discrepancies between the suburbanites and the downtown people. I grew up in Indiana. I've been here for 6 years now, so like I don't really care. But it sounds like you're a real Chicagoan.
I don't really care either. I think if you were like in a suburb or Chicago, it's like
ridiculous conversation.
Can't really choose where you were born at. Like I
don't know. Also, it's so much easier like for people that are outside of Chicago to be like, yeah, I'm actually from Chicago and not like Naperville. Like nobody knows what Naperville is. Right.
I think as long as you are coming into Chicago and doing things in Chicago, it counts.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, growing up in a city like Chicago, obviously we mentioned the heart of the Midwest, such a thriving music scene here. I mean, so much history. Chicago, house music, of course, blues, I think is a genre that's not talked about enough here. But it really is just a rich culture. What was it like growing up? I mean, obviously you're a producer and a DJ now. Must have had a huge influence on you.
Yeah, I think it was really cool. I remember going to the Metro when I was in high school for shows and stuff. So that was always fun. And I think I went to when I was like, I don't even know how old I was, probably like 13, 12. I went to the Aragon for like my very first concert that I went to. It was really embarrassing. I went to see Smash Mouth. But
that's not embarrassing. That's awesome. That was cool at the time.
That was cool at the time. So that was like, yeah. So yeah, it's just cool, like growing up and having those kind of venues around to experience. I mean, I was really into like more like rock, indie, metal growing up, and then it really wasn't until I think Metro actually had this party. It was like an Electro Clash party when I was like maybe I just turned 18 or something like that. And I remember going to those, and that was kind of like my intro into like electronic music.
Yeah, was that your first electronic show then? You think?
Like in high school, there was like a couple like raves I went to, I guess, but I didn't really know the music so much then, but it was really like the Electro Clash stuff. That when I was like 18, that started getting me into, and then like bands like The Faint and Mastercraft and those kind of like electro indie rock type bands.
Mastercraft, I haven't heard that name.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the first electronic music groups that I heard too.
Yeah, so those kind of groups really got me further from like rock, because they were like doing all the remixes of all the cool like indie bands and like turning them into electronic remixes that you could play at parties and stuff. So that was,
of course. But you were
really
definitely
what got me into
fan first.
Yeah, fan first. Yeah, Two Likes the House Cat was another guy that I remember seeing super early. Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you remember the first like DJ you saw then? Was it actually like a little bit longer in life? Because the DJs were always around, of course, right? But like the actual like career of being a DJ, that kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was probably like, I'm trying to think who it was. It would have been at the Metro for those Electro Clash parties, but I can't remember who the DJ was. Maybe it was like, man, I don't even know who it was, but it was someone from the Electro Clash era. Someone in that era.
Yeah. So do you remember like maybe it was like a specific moment where you said, I think I want to actually make this passion a career?
it was so gradual for me. So like, I was really into the music and stuff, but I had no intention on being a DJ or working in music or anything like that. But I had an art gallery in Chicago. It was next to the Congress Theater.
Awesome.
So maybe that's one of the venues that like left that had a big impact on me. So I had a storefront next to the Congress Theater. It was one of the storefronts there, and we had a gallery called Zoku, and we had a screen printing company in the back. And in the basement, we were throwing parties basically, and we would get acts to come play our like after parties. Like there's a big show at the Congress, we would just throw an after party in the basement of our gallery afterwards. Just like come in and like we were like making money that way. And
there you go.
We ended up getting like a DJ set up there and stuff, and people were like, you should learn how to DJ. And I was like, I don't know, like doing the art thing at the time, which I still love. But yeah, then kind of slowly, I think I got like Tractor and like some MIDI controller, and I was messing around with that and slowly got into DJing. Yeah, from that.
How old were you then, if you don't mind me asking?
Probably like 22, 23 at the time. Maybe no, probably later actually, because man, time is just like
yeah. Me, I hear you.
It actually would have been later because I was throwing the parties like started throwing parties around like 21, 22, and probably didn't start DJing until like 24. Maybe, yeah.
Okay, so you were DJing before you were producing then?
Yeah. So DJing first, because we were just so like DJing my own parties essentially.
Hey, if you build it, they will come. I had the same experience here. I came to Chicago. I started DJing in college, and in college at IU, it's like, you get to a certain point where they'll just book you if you can bring your frat brothers and sorority sisters just to fill the room, right? And you're like, I'm the shit. This is awesome.
Got this.
Opening for like Blau, who's like at that point on tour for doing SoundCloud mashups. So like, basically it's not reality. And then you come to Chicago, and I'm like, can't be that hard, right? Reality check, man. This is people's careers. This is their livelihood. And I'm like, how do I play house music? It is really tough. House gigs. Throw your own parties, right?
Throw your own, Throw your own and open them up, and then book acts that you love and make those connections, and then kind of like snowballed from there.
Yeah, it definitely takes time, but man, is it a fun process when you look back?
Yeah, definitely.
There's some stressful moments. I always tell this funny story of me and my friend. We started doing parties like in Old Town when I first moved to Chicago, or like 2 years after. We're going to Guitar Center, renting giant subwoofers, putting them in the back of my friend's Camry, putting our seats all the way up and forward like this so we can fit the subs. We're carrying the subs up. We're hitting our knees like on the subs, get it all up there. 20 people show up. We're like, wow, people came. This is amazing.
I remember I had bought from some of these like huge B-52 subs. They're like huge. They look like the size of like my desk basically, and they're heavy, and they had wheels in the bottom to like roll them around and stuff. We had 2 of those and then 2 tops, and like we like all the money we made from the parties, we ended up buying like the sound system basically, and it was like for the price it like sounded really good, but for the size it was just huge, like to move this thing around, because the subs are just like 4 feet by 4 feet by 4. They're just like clunkers. So
That's a like Midwest word, clunker. I don't think I've ever said that.
Rolling those around though, like for like different loft parties and stuff was the pain.
Hey, you make it work.
Yeah.
So started DJing first. I know we're here to talk about Autograf, but for those that don't know, you started a project called Midnight Conspiracy before, right?
Yeah. So started doing like, and again with the time, I don't know. I'm always like, what time? But that's probably about like 10 years ago now, maybe a little longer. About then. Started Midnight Conspiracy, and that we started like kind of as this like a indie electro group that kind of slowly got more into like heavy bass music through like the rise of Skrillex and stuff. So it had been like right around the time Skrillex released like Nice Frights and Scary Monsters. Was that project. I was like super influenced by that, and like, man, that sounded just so refreshing and unique to me at the time. I was like, I want to make stuff like this. I want to do stuff like this. So started doing some stuff like that and like bass music. And then that project did really well. I loved it. We like signed to Ultra. We toured with like Zed's Dead and stuff, and it was really good.
Crazy.
But I guess my heart just wasn't in the style of music anymore as I was getting older. And then we started Autograf kind of, and didn't even tell anyone who was in Autograf time, because Midnight Conspiracy was still like doing really well. Actually, we were like still touring the country and stuff as that group. So I remember the very first Autograf show was opening for Midnight Conspiracy. It was at Navy Pier in Chicago.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So we had a show at Navy Pier, and it was like their summer series or something like that, and it was a free show. So it was like it was like 1,000 people that showed up for, maybe more. It was like huge, and like and like they didn't expect that. I think at Navy Pier, they were like, oh, it's like they did like these DJs there and stuff. They're like, nah, like it's like just like a weekend thing or whatever.
People, right? Are they right?
Yeah. And we had actually like promoted it and had like over 1,000 people show up for it, and the security was like, what is going on here? This is crazy. But Autograf opened up from Midnight Conspiracy, and Louis played the Autograf set. And I remember he kind of like went incognito. He like wore like a button-up shirt and like a hat that like kind of went down, and he like went up there and he played the Autograf set, which was like, more at the house stuff. And then jumped off stage, and I jumped up there, and he like took off the hat and put on like a leather jacket and like a black shirt, and like jumped up there, and we rocked it. And that was like the very first Autograf show. Before it was like even Autograf, it was just like this new project we like wanted to start.
Wow. So you were at the same time, while you're having success as Midnight Conspiracy, producing Autograf music and thinking about making this transition. Was that like strange for you guys? I mean, thinking about the long term, I mean, a lot of people, of course, would go, you're crazy, keep doing this project, right?
Yeah, it was just like one of those things where we were just doing, I think for that show, we didn't even have any music out yet. It was just like we wanted to play a different style of music because like we couldn't play house music as Midnight Conspiracy because those fans probably wouldn't have like enjoyed that. So it's like, let's make this new project and just kind of play music under this new project that's different. And then we did this one remix. It was like a remix of Magic Stick by 50 Cent, and it was like,
I listened to that today, actually.
Slowed down and like reverbed out a little bit. And it was like this cool. We just kind of put it up there on SoundCloud and like blogged. It did really well on the blogs and stuff, and kind of took off from there. And it was we didn't really expect. I don't think the idea of Autograf was for it to be this like thing that it became initially. It was just kind of like the side project where we wanted to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, you never know what's going to work in music with multiple productions and where it's going to go. I always figure, like, no matter what, stay true to what makes you happy, especially when it comes to music, because that's what'll last long, whether or not you have success. We all define success differently, but that's inspiring, man. Actually, I really appreciate you sharing that. That's cool.
Thanks. Yeah. So who knows what's next?
You mentioned the blogs, though. Remember Hype Machine? Didn't you guys have 14 number one Hype Machine hits? So
that was definitely the Hype Machine era where we were just like releasing this music on Hype Machine and or uploading it to SoundCloud and then out to blogs, and Hype Machine aggregated like a select group of blogs, and that was kind of how the music got out there. And I remember like for Autograf, actually our first tour wasn't even in the Midwest. It was a California tour, which is really cool. So we had this agent approached us, and he was like, hey, I really want to like book you guys for stuff. You have like a really good following in like San Francisco and up and down the coast. I think you could do like some shows out there. We were like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. Like, let's do it. So that was our first tour. It was like a little like West Coast tour. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. The Hype Machine days. I remember that. That's like when you knew you made it. I think, didn't the Chainsmokers, one of their tracks like hit number one on Hype Machine, and you just
probably all their tracks did back then.
Probably all their tracks did back then. Yeah, I mean, you guys, your SoundCloud is healthy, Michael. It's like millions of plays on like your remixes from 8 years ago, and I'm like, God damn, that's badass.
Yeah, it's crazy because I don't even use SoundCloud much anymore.
Nobody does. Yes, nobody does.
A lot of love for SoundCloud because it like really kicked off our career. But yeah, it's funny, I don't even really use SoundCloud anymore.
Yeah. Speaking of Jaime too, he told me like he has like 50,000 followers on his SoundCloud, like for Dynasty Podcast. They flew him out to San Francisco, like to give like to talk about how to do a podcast. That's just, it's like podcasting is like 15, 20 years old as an industry, which is crazy. And I know we're going to get into a lot of stuff like NFTs and cryptocurrency and stuff that's still so brand new. But to me, like, that's like inspiring as hell. These new industries that come up, like when there's so much opportunity, but it seems like, well, what is it? But it's exciting. Yeah.
I remember because like Jaime was working at Q101 at the time when I met him, doing like their local 101 show. Mm-hmm. And that's how I met him, through a friend of mine from high school, Zarin. And we would go there on Sundays and just kind of like hang out at the Q101 studios and Merchandise Mart, just like a bunch of friends. Well, he like ran the show or whatever. And I remember him talking about podcasting back then and like trying to even pitch it to Q101. People listeners probably don't even remember Q101 because it's gone now because they didn't keep up with the times. And it's like they should have listened to him and done something. They could have been, they had like everyone big back in the day, like come through, and now they're gone because they didn't really keep up with the times. So I think it's important to like really keep up with whatever's new.
It's so important.
You're forgotten. I like talk to people now who are like, in their early 20s. And if I say Q101, they'd be like, what is that?
Oh, listen, I went to go visit my grandparents at a retirement community in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I talked to the guy who was the president of Tidewater. He was like 88 years old. He used to run a radio station in Baltimore, Maryland. This guy had 700 questions about podcasting. He did not understand how I can talk, put it out to the world, and people listen to it. I'm like, I can't help you. I can't get this conversation out.
It's a lost cause.
It's a lost cause. Yeah. Like let's enjoy shrimp night. Okay.
Yeah.
But it is true. Yeah. That's a good piece of advice. But so obviously I want to talk about music with you today, and there's so much we could talk about. As much as I'd love to run through every track and get a breakdown, just not enough time. But there are a lot of producers on the show or listen to the show that love to hear the inspiration, styles, where you're at mentally. And since we have so much music to cover, I figured we just do some remixes first and then some originals. And like I said, not all, but I was going back through the archives, Michael. I like to tiptoe the line of stalker and intense researcher. Okay. Yeah, I went all the way back. I think the first remix you guys ever did was Amtrak Walkin', like 8 years ago.
That was the first official remix we did. Yeah. We did the bootlegs before that. That was the first official. Yeah.
All right, we got to check this one out. This is Autograf's first official remix. This one's by Amtrak called Walkin' in the Autograf remix.
Lonely nights, you know that I'm mighty man.
True. And it's like, it's seriously cool.
Is that that long ago?
Yeah. It's
really?
8 years ago, man.
Wow. That's crazy.
8 years ago.
People ask me how long. People ask me how long Autograf's been around, and I'm usually like, I don't know, like 5-6 years. I guess it's 8 years.
It's 8-9 years. Yeah. That's
8-9 years now.
That's high school and college right there. Seriously.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
awesome. Hey, been it for a while.
It still stands the test of time. Like, it's soulful with a twist. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is because I think it honestly laid a pretty solid foundation for the breadth of sound design and style that you guys have. Do you remember like that far back? I mean, obviously you remember the shows, but being in the studio, with Louis and like thinking about what do we want our sound to be? Were you just having fun? How did this end up being the first official remix?
So I remember, there's kind of three of us in Autograf. So Jake,
right,
who was in Autograf with us. He's still part of Autograf, just doesn't tour with us anymore. Cool. for his own reasons. But we had Amtrak actually grew up in Kentucky, where Jake is from, and they knew each other in Kentucky, and that's how we got that first remix.
That's so awesome.
There were two Kentucky boys that knew each other, and Amtrak had just like started like kind of blowing up at that point. And Jake reached out to him and was like, "Yeah, can we do a remix of one of your songs?" And sent over the stems to it, and we did that. And yeah, that was the first official remix we got.
Wow, that's awesome. Small world. You never really Kentucky house producers.
Yeah, there's like two of them.
Yeah.
Kentucky is like Amtrak is from there, and Figure from the dubstep side is from
Figure's from Kentucky.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's all people I can think of, really.
Well, Figure's wired differently, like a lot of people from Kentucky, so that kind of makes sense a little bit.
But there's only other people I know from Kentucky. But yeah, we were trying to like one of the big inspirations. I mean, like, I remember seeing Cyril Hahn in Vancouver. I don't even know if that guy's still making music or not.
I don't think he is. Wow, I remember those deep house remixes from.
He was a big inspiration at that time. I remember going to a Red Bull party in Vancouver that he was playing, and it was just such a cool vibe. And I was like, man, that was probably before the Walkin' remix came out, or before. That was like kind of one of the things that we were like, man, we want to do like a party like this in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was like a big influence for us, and kind of the stuff that's come out then, and then like Disclosure kind of was popping off at that point, guys like that. So yeah, that was all like a big inspiration.
Love that. It's awesome. Yeah. And it is a great track. You should listen back to it. I don't know the last time you did, but
man, I probably not listened to that track in over 2 years.
Go in. Hey, I don't know if you got a manager or somebody running your guys' SoundCloud still, but it's very well organized. It helped me a lot, actually.
Our manager does run it. Shout out Hunter, who runs our.
Shout out Hunter. It's so well organized. Cover art for remixes, originals. Yeah, it looks good.
He still uploads stuff there, I think. I assume our new songs are on.
Yes. That's so funny. It looks really good. Great job, Hunter.
Yeah.
Awesome. So next one I want to ask about, Alesso Cool, the Autograf remix. You know, Alesso, of course, is an artist who's just revolutionized his sound throughout the years and really never rode the wave. And he's one of my favorites, but this is a special remix for you guys. And the reason I brought this up is I saw a quote from you guys that you were really inspired by French house, the filter house. And certainly we hear flavors throughout the entire Autograf discography. Do you remember I like specifically thinking, wow, we love French house. How can we incorporate this?
Yeah, I mean, groups like Justice were like a huge influence, and Kavinsky, and I mean, like the whole like So Me and all those guys that were from like that era.
Yeah.
That whole French touch, like
the
sound
French
and stuff.
touch. Yes.
Yeah. So I love that sound and the filter house sound and stuff. And that was kind of, we had like done it. We were still doing like, that was like probably one of the very first like big remixes we got, I think, was that one and the Avicii one we got to do.
Yeah, of course.
Those were right around the same time. And it was like, we were kind of like, I think we had done like all these like bootleg remixes of like Marvin Gaye and stuff. And like, those were really popping off on SoundCloud at the time. And our manager had like reached out to their management and was like, hey, these guys have like been crushing it with the remixes. We'd love to like do an on-spec remix for you. And they were like, yeah, do it. And then they accepted it. And yeah, that's how those came out.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's great. I think the oldest song that we still play in a lot of our sets to this day is the Avicii remix we did from that time. Because it's kind of, I don't know, the vocals for that song, I think, still just stand the test of time. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it is a pretty good live set song. I was just about to ask you about that. I mean, obviously Avicii has been a huge inspiration for Autograf, and not just electronic music, but his music is something that gives sound a new meaning, like to life. Like, it's hard to put into words the impact he's made. Did you guys approach that remix like differently, knowing like how much influence he's had on you, how much he was having at that point?
I haven't approached it differently necessarily, because we still wanted it to be like the Autograf sound, but it was just one of those things where we're like, man, this is like a big artist who like has like he was like one of those two artists that had crossed over from like electronic artists to like pop artists at the time. They were like, it was like him and like Swedish House Mafia. There weren't like many of them at that point that were like mainstays, like playing on the radio songs.
Pretty much Calvin, Avicii,
Calvin Harris. Yeah.
Not many.
So not many. So when we got the opportunity that, it was just like a big deal for us, being like, oh, wow, like someone of this caliber, they're letting us do a remix of their music and put our touch on it. So that was really special.
Yeah. Put on your gravestone type shit. I mean, special Avicii remix. That's special.
Yeah. And rest in peace, Avicii. But like, I think for us, it's one of those things where having got to do like something while he was still around, and knowing that he gave us feedback, like listened to it and like gave us feedback on it, like kind of crazy.
I know, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I love that track too. That one and this next one are ones that have always been in my USB for a long time. You're All We Need, Odessa remix.
Oh, let's check this one out together. This is one of my favorite Autograf remixes. This one's Odessa, All We Need, in the Autograf remix.
No, this is not a tactic to expose you, babe. I'm just trying to see you.
Dude, I discovered that. So it was like on a Tool Room poolside Ibiza, like compilation, right? Like when you're like first becoming a DJ and you're like, I got to download these 60 track Tool Room house music, Beatport, $15 for 70 tracks. Going through them. I was like, oh shit, Autograf's on here. That track is so versatile, Michael, like very versatile. Like I might play it at a hotel rooftop. I might play it like for an opening set. I might play it for a closing set. Shit, I might play the sunset. Shit, I might play it like on a beach. I played it in so many different places. It's one of my favorite tracks from you guys.
Yeah, I think that was like when because we were kind of going between like doing the house like BPM stuff and then like the slower BPM stuff. So that kind of was in like that slower BPM category. And at the time we were incorporating like some live instrumentation to our sets and stuff. So we had like live drums and like this electric xylophone thing called a Malacat where you're playing live. So it was just like a cool song that we could like play out in like kind of this almost like hybrid show essentially. And and obviously Odessa does that better than almost anyone right now with their show. I don't know if you've ever seen them live. Their show is like super next level of how they have everything timed down to like the second of like visuals and drummers and live, like everything was just, it's like so on point. So that was like, we were like hugely inspired by their sets at the time and what they were doing, and wanted to do our own version of that, I think, a little bit, and our own flavor of that. Are you guys
doing
cool.
live sets anymore? Because you were on tour doing live shows. It's been mostly DJ sets at least the past year, right?
We haven't done a live show since pre-COVID. Okay. So we are on the Ace of You tour, like, and I got cut in half basically during that. And we had like a hybrid show for that, like keyboards, like a drum machine and a DJ decks. And then Cole, who sings Move All Night, she was touring with us, singing a lot of the songs.
Awesome.
And then for certain shows like LA, we had like a bunch of other singers come on and stuff. So we're doing like a lot of guest vocalists for that tour and stuff. And for the next album, I don't know. We'll see. We'll do something special though for the tour, probably like in a year or so. But for now, we're just doing DJ sets for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I really love that. Even someone who's a DJ and appreciates a great DJ set, I think there's nothing more special than, like you said, a hybrid house set. Like Gorgon City is another good example of that. Like it's exciting, and I think it helps people who look at the DJ culture, so to speak, and maybe don't know house music, like house music for whatever reason. You go to something like that, and it's a live show, live singer. You guys are playing live instruments, and it's fun. It's just straight up fun. That's it.
Sometimes I think even just doing it as a stage show, even if you're just doing like a DJ type thing, like having visuals that are like specifically made for that show that are kind of in sync with the music that you're timing out, just a cool way to do it.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that for sure. I mean, where we're at right now with like just literally speakers, like how insane sound is right now. It's like sound and lights and LED walls and DJ equipment itself. Like I just feel like I'm living in the future.
It's so, I mean, not to jump too much into like the technology now, like with like the link capability, because like, so that before we were using Ableton for our live shows, and then with the Pioneer Link system, you can actually run that into Ableton and pull the signal from the Pioneer equipment and run the time clock, and then be able to have like the keyboards you're playing, like the arpeggiations and stuff, still in sync with the music for the CDJs. And just the way everything can talk to each other now is just really amazing.
Whoa. So I did not know about that. Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, so we were able to do that for that. So yeah, for the ACD tour, so we had the DJ decks running the CDJs with like the core of the music, and then that was running to a computer that controlled our lighting, and to a computer that controlled our visuals, and to a computer that ran kind of the live instruments of like the keyboard and the drum machine and stuff. And it was all kind of using the Pioneer Link system as like the core like foundation of like syncing everything to those tracks essentially. Yeah. And
sounds like you love it the way you explain that.
I do love it. It's cool because we were able to like trigger stuff live but not have it planned out at the same time with that, because like with the Ableton sets it's like super planned out. It's like everything is kind of like in timeline view or clip view, and you're kind of like launching everything. But with that, you're still able to like launch stuff on cue and have everything lined up, and you can see like the readout of like the waveforms and stuff through different programs, and then like actually launch visuals live and lighting live, but it's going to be all in time. So you can essentially line up like a lyric video on the spot with what you're playing versus having to like know ahead of time where you're going to play it in the set. So it was like doing it like that was just like really being able to like free up what the live show hybrid show could be, because prior to that we had done like the Ableton live show, which is like pre-planned down to like the second essentially. And then the DJ sets, which are really fun because that's not planned at all. And then this is like able to fall somewhere in the middle where we know we're going to play all our own songs and kind of have like a rough idea of where everything, but you can always like in the moment like loop something or jump to a different part of it. So I don't know, it's just like really cool ability to like still improv the DJ side of it and not have it laid out in like a timeline of Ableton.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool. I actually did not know that. I've definitely seen some DJs that do some stuff in time, but it's with a lighting or sound guy who they work with, go on tour with, and they know when they're going to play, they hear it coming in, things like that. They give them cues, but for you to have that freedom to be the DJ you are on the inside and still be able to give the fans the music they want is exciting.
If you're a DJ listening to this, check out, it's called Show Control with a K instead of a C. That's the program where it will give you a readout and you can see where the music is. And both like someone like sound guys or like lighting guys and like VJs can use it from like back house while you're using it kind of like up on stage as well. So it's a cool way to do it.
What's it called again?
Show Control.
Show like Control.
Yeah. So
I'm writing that down.
Check it out.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Let's finish out talking about some of your originals. Now, like you said, you've been doing this for a while now, so we could go through all these, but I want to start with Dream, the first original Autograf, 2015.
You already know what time it is. Let's do this one together. This one's called Dream by Autograf, their first original track.
I'm just stuck here in a dream.
At the bottom of the ocean, I'm at the bottom of the sea. But I don't know if I'll make it back home. I'm just stuck here in a dream. At the bottom of the ocean, I'm at the bottom of the sea. But I don't know if I'll make it back home. I'm just stuck here in a dream.
I'm just stuck here in a dream.
It's something special. And obviously you guys have been toying around with bootlegs, remix. How did this end up being your guys' first original track?
So it's funny because that's the vocal in that is actually from a sample pack, and it wasn't actually going to be the original vocal, like the final vocal. We were like looking at different singers to do something for that song, but that vocal just really resonated with us so well. We decided to keep it. It just fits so well for that song. And we had written that song along with a couple others, and Ultra, we had just signed like a deal with Ultra, and they were like, "You want a song to put out? Which song do you want to put out?" And that was the one that just felt right to put out at the time. And yeah, it just kind of had like a lot of like it was like a slower tempo song. We had like really incorporated that marimba sound that we had kind of cultivated at that point, and just seemed like the right one to put out, and really encompassed those like beach vibes and summer vibes that we wanted at the time. It was I think it was on like a summer compilation type thing as well. So
definitely.
It just seemed like it made the most sense for it.
Yeah, it's a statement track. One of my favorites from you guys. I that's humbling knowing it came from a sample pack too, because I feel like there's a split, right, where people are like, if you use anything from Splice or a sample pack, you're not a real producer. And it's like, dude, easy.
it is tough because that vocal was from like a Logic sample pack. And it was sometimes samples just work really well, and they just fit the song, I mean, I love working with vocalists on songs and having original vocals because I think it does add like an extra layer of like originality to it. But sometimes you just find the sample that just really matches the vibe, and it's the one.
It just happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. All you producers out there, take notes because it's the truth. But speaking of originality, another one of my favorites from you guys, Metaphysical. I mean, this is a true composition.
All right, let's check this one out together. This one's called Metaphysical, featuring Janelle Kroll by Autograf.
And the special thing about it, it has a real message. And you were quoted as saying, metaphysical isn't about the origin of the universe. It's about the reality we create in our own lives. When we peel back the layers, we're all human inside. That's poetry. Like, I'm emotional right now a little bit reading that. Like, we're all the same. Yeah. We're all humans.
Yeah. We wrote with Janelle Kroll. She's awesome. We have another song with her on the album called Walk With You. So we've known her for a long time.
Yeah.
And there was just, I think like this, like we wanted this underlying message of all the Autograf music and all the albums and everything to have like a certain level of like spirituality to it.
Yeah.
And we continue to like kind of follow that theme with a lot of the music we're writing. And that really is one of those songs that kind of cemented that idea for us.
Yeah. And I mean, at least from my perspective, this one saw massive success. We mentioned Avicii, he supported it, Pete Tong, Chainsmokers. Was this a track where you felt like, okay, things are really taking off for us?
Yeah, because that was like the first house BPM track that really took off for us. So it was one of those ones where like other DJs at the time were playing out, whereas like songs like Dream were slower and like you didn't really have other DJs playing out. It was really like something that was like more like we would play out on our shows, like live hybrid shows. But that show, like had big DJs like Chainsmokers and Avicii playing it out and stuff. So it was just really cool.
Yeah. It's awesome. There's nothing cooler than that. When you see it, you're like, okay, it's good. It's good. Me and my mom and my dad like the song.
And it's funny because to this day, we still play that in a lot of our sets. But we've made this really fun edit of it for our sets. And it kind of works where we have like the version of the song that goes into this like kind of a reworked build up of the song that builds up really long. And then it kind of just cuts off. And for sets, like over the last couple of years, we've always put other songs that it drops into at the end there. So it's kind of like this versatile track where we can like swap out the drop basically to like something that's like more modern and new, but keep that like awesome build up that we wrote for it.
Very cool. I like that. Playing on your own original. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I want to talk about your Future Soup EP because it was your first EP that you guys released, right?
Yep. That was the first one.
Yeah. And by the way, the artwork on this EP is awesome. You guys do all of your own artwork. I know everybody in the group is very creative in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. So we do all our own artwork for all the albums and songs and everything. So, and that's funny because the first party we threw as Autograf was, it was called Future Factory. It was this take on this like Andy Warhol Factory-esque party. It was at House of Blues in Chicago.
Nice.
And we had like transformed House of Blues into like, we took the stage and put all these art installations on the stage and then did like a boiler room style thing where the DJ booth was down in like the ground where everyone was dancing and people could go walk on the stage and experience the art and then dance on the floor around the DJ booth. And it's just like a really cool experience.
That's awesome.
It was so much fun. And to this day, that's like one of my favorite parties we ever put together. I remember we spent like months planning that party, like literally built this like 8-foot tall, 5-foot wide soup can in my mom's garage. It was huge. It was like 2 pieces, probably weighed like over 1,000 pounds out of wood and had to roll it there. And get a U-Haul truck to bring all this stuff in and make this 10-foot long cigarette that like shot smoke out of it. So like we're really inspired by like, the whole pop art movement, and like more so the community that was like that, like stuff like Andy Warhol's factory built in New York. I think that kind of community that like inspired other artists and stuff, and we took a lot of inspiration from that personally. So yeah, that was kind of the inspiration for the Future Soup EP.
Still throwing your own parties all these years later.
Yeah, we still throw some of our own parties. We have some cool stuff in the works for like next year. Yeah, it's going to be a new branded party that we're working on with some cool people. So excited to announce that next year.
Very cool. Very cool. So, but that EP, it was amazing because it had such a mature sound design and every track is different. It reminded me of this Chris Lake quote where he said, once you learn the rules, you know how to break them. And like Horizons is like a nuts track. Like that is like a electro banger that grows into it. Heartbeat is a raw emotional track. Ocean Glass tells a story without even really words in it. I mean, what's the story behind this EP? Did you guys go in intending to make different sounds for every track?
Yeah, we really wanted to kind of showcase like a lot of things pulled from like stuff in the past. So like songs like Heartbeat pulled like a lot from Dream, but it like was a little bit faster, but like had a lot of elements of Dreams, and like breathed a lot of those like marimba sounds that are from Dream and stuff. And Horizons really played more into like that like dance, like kind of like electro sound, some previous tracks. So it was really something we wanted to like encompass everything from the past that we had done previously in like the remix territory more so, and those originals, and kind of diversify that sound through an EP that kind of told the story.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Is the full package, and it's still like hits. I think honestly, I'm gonna go and download all those tracks. I had heard Horizons before, but I feel like another versatile track. Do you guys still drop that one? Because that one is my style right there.
We haven't dropped that one in a while. We had a mashup with it that we used to play out a lot. We haven't played that one out in a long time.
I was listening to it in passing as I was cleaning my apartment recently, and I just like put on this EP and I was like, all right, I haven't listened to this in a while. And I'm like vacuuming and I've got the transparency AirPods on, and I'm like start vacuuming faster. And I'm like, whoa. I got to turn the vacuum off. Like, what is going on? I forgot about this song.
It's getting you going.
It's good for vacuuming, people. Yes. Yeah. Good for cleaning. It's inspiring. I don't know if that was your guys' intention, but hey, it's a side effect.
Whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works. So you mentioned the track Move All Night with Sunburn and Cole. Certainly one of your guys' biggest hits.
Well, we got to check this one out. This one's called Move All Night by Autograf and Sunburn featuring Cole.
We can move all night if you want me to. We can move all night, just gotta say you do. We can move all night. We can move all night if you want me to. We can move all night, just gotta say you do. We can move all night.
Something that I'm curious to know as a fan of who's been a fan of Sunburn for a long time. What's your guys' relationship with him? How did this track all come together? And what's the background story?
Yeah, we've known each other for a while now, and just like friends and stuff. I'm actually gonna see him later tonight for a mutual friend's birthday party.
Awesome.
At our studio. So yeah, we've just been friends since kind of we all got into this early on, like SoundCloud and stuff era.
Yes.
And he had started that song with Cole. I think they recorded those vocals in like one session, and he passed it off to us. So we did some work on it. Yeah, and just kind of one of those songs that just hit in all the right places, I guess. And yeah, today I think it's our most streamed track on Spotify. So
it doesn't always happen like that, does it?
It's not something like that. Yeah. But it was just perfect combination.
It's awesome. And that's a track that I hear all the time, not just in Chicago. You go to festivals, clubs, all over the country, all over the world, really. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
Its success is well deserved, my friend. It's awesome.
It's kind of crazy because for the first year that track came out, it didn't really move that far. Like it was just kind of like a normal song. It was like kind of stagnant for like almost a year. And then after a year, after that first year it came out, and then it did okay or whatever. And then like that second year, it just like started going crazy. And then like it's still, I think it's growing faster like it's grown faster over the pandemic than it did previously, which is kind of crazy. So I think it's at like, I don't know how many, like 30 something million plays now or something like that. But it was at like 10 million plays before that. So it's like done more numbers recently than it did previously. So it's like one of those songs that just kept growing.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's always tough. You don't want to make songs that tiptoe the line of streamable and playable, but
yeah,
those are the songs that ultimately do very, very well on sort of both of those forefronts. So yeah, it's awesome. That's funny. You never know what's going to work, do you?
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. So make sure you love what you do.
Yeah. 100.
So last one I want to ask you about your guys' album, Ace of You. First album done in spectacular fashion. So shout out to all three of you guys and your team behind it. I'm sure it was a collective effort. Feature tracks like Ain't Deep Enough with Jared Lee, If You Never Loved Me with Kalina. What's this album mean to you guys? What's the meaning behind Ace of You?
Yeah, so it's our first album and something that we had like worked on. Some of those tracks we had worked on, I don't know, years ago and kind of revisited and brought back in and reworked them and stuff. And
awesome.
It was just something that we really wanted to tell this story, you know, over time of everything that we've kind of done. And it's also just because we were on that tour before the album came out when everything happened. And then we postponed the release of the album thinking that we would do like a fall tour. And then that obviously didn't happen. And then we ended up kind of putting the album out. So I don't know, but like, kind of it was like an interesting time for music also at that time, but it kind of related back to the album. So like the idea of the album is, so each song related back to like a tarot card that kind of had like the meaning behind it. And the idea was like in life, you're kind of like dealt this deck of cards or like this hand of cards or whatever. And you can't really change what you're dealt, but how you play that hand, you know, is up to you as the person. How you interpret that hand is up to you as a person. So that was one of the big inspirations of like, we want people to like listen to these songs and like they obviously have a lot of like personal meaning for us as well, but also like to interpret them, like the meaning that they get out of those songs. So that's a big part of it.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. It makes sense why it's your guys' first album, because this is your story. It's who you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Very cool. What's your personal favorite track from the album?
It's so hard to say because it's always changing.
Nice.
I don't know if I have a favorite song off the album. it's yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I love all the music that's on the album. So
good answer.
Yeah,
good answer. Not taking any sides. I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So
but I love to hear other people's favorite songs off the album. So if anyone has a favorite song, let me know. I'm always curious to know what other people's favorite songs of ours are. So
please let them know, people. Yeah, mine is probably If You Never Loved Me. I mean.
All right, let's check out my favorite track from Ace of You. This one's called If You Never Loved Me by Autograf featuring Kalina Zanders.
It's heavy, you're stumbling, but I keep you steady. I would love you if you never love me. If you never love me.
Kalina is like, she's got soul, you know, like I feel like I got to start singing like her when I hear that song.
It's funny because that song was another writer who like wrote a lot of the lyrics for that song, and she had sang it. We're like, I don't know, it's like not right, you know. And then Kalina, so she's always she works out of our studio as well in Los Angeles here that we have. Are like, yeah, we have this song, would you be like interested? And she like did her version of it, and we were just like, wow, like this is it.
Sign the check. Yeah.
Sign it. Yeah. Like you crushed it. Like you just elevated this song so much. So
yeah, that's amazing. And for people that don't know who she is, you got to go check her out. She's doing really, really big things right now.
She is. That's amazing.
That's amazing. What is, so you just mentioned the studio and we talked about it a few times, Project Parallel, collaborative workspace in West Hollywood. You guys have had that for a few years now. What exactly is it?
Yeah. So it's in Silver Lake.
Silver Lake. Okay.
But not West Hollywood. But yeah. So when I moved out here, my friend Thibaut and I founded this place called Project Parallel. He's actually he was Sunburn's tour manager for a while, and he actually tour managed us at one point as well.
Awesome.
So it's like all in the family. It's actually his birthday tonight. That's the birthday we're going to.
Okay, there we go. Happy birthday.
But I moved out here, and just had this we were like looking at places, like all over the place, and ended up finding this, it's like the bottom storefront of this like old hotel that's now like studio apartments, and just like a really cool, unique space. It was like super rundown. It was like used for storage. Previously, there's like old refrigerators and stoves in there, and like we looked at it, and there's no walls or anything. We're like, yeah, I think we can like turn this into something. And the landlord was really cool, and like gave us like a build out budget, and like we built rooms, we built a music studio. So the storefront, so the front is like a photo studio, or used for like pop-up shops and stuff like that, or like art shows and events and stuff. So that's like the front area of it. And then there's like a side room that's kind of like this healing room that we have set up, and we have like a music studio in the back. So it's kind of this like multi-use space.
Wow, that is incredible. Yeah. Can anybody use it, or I mean, is it like a membership, or?
It's membership based. So I mean, you can rent it by the hour as well. So we do like hourly rentals for either the photo or the music studio. And then we have people who are like monthly members who pay like a flat fee, and they can come in and use it as they need, and they get like a little fingerprint and come whenever they want type thing.
Well, damn, fingerprint, shit.
Yeah. That fingerprint reader on the door. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So and it's just like a cool space, because kind of like pulled this inspiration of like, we wanted this space that was like a communal, like cool space to like meet people and collaborate and stuff. And like there's space like Soho House or like Noi House and stuff that are like cool for like meetings and stuff, but like you can't actually get creative at those kind of places. I feel like we wanted this place that kind of like played off this ability for like different creatives to be under one roof essentially. So like you have someone like producing something in the back, and then like they need a photo shoot for that song they can come out and like use one of the photographers of the studio to do the photo shoot. And yeah, it's just like this like multi-use space.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I bet people who may not have met each other or have wanted to, it's a great way to collaborate and just get to know each other.
Yeah, it's how I met Kalina, so that's awesome.
There we go.
Yeah. So the guys from Win and Woo work with her a lot. They're also Chicago guys. The studio, and them and Kalina are always writing stuff at the studio. And that's how I met her.
That's awesome. Shout out to Win and Woo.
Yeah, good guys.
Good guys. Amazing. So something that I know you're really passionate about, and we've mentioned it in one way or another, is, NFTs and cryptocurrency and digital mediums. And you guys just recently actually had first of its kind hybrid digital physical concert with I'm Not Art, showcase physical representations of non-fungible token NFTs. Wow. First off, awesome. I saw Danny was there, DJ. She had her own. Looks so cool. I wanted to go, actually was out of town, but I heard it was great. And I know I'm really curious to learn more about NFTs, and a lot of people out there, especially up and coming artists. Could you kind of give us like a spark notes, or, an easy way to not that it really maybe even is that easy.
Yeah.
And what was the point of that event as well?
Yeah, like shout out I'm Not Art. They're based in Chicago. They have a physical gallery there on Chicago Avenue, and like it's like Chicago National area right there. And we're actually going to be doing a lot more stuff with them out there. They've been really good to us, and we did that. It was called Daytime Vibes. It was kind of this physical party that we had at their gallery, but then it was also streamed to the metaverse in a space called Crypto Voxel. So if you weren't based in Chicago, you could still attend virtually, essentially. And it was really cool being able to like kind of interact with people virtually, but then at the show as well. It's just something way different, I think, than what else is going on right now. And I think with like we did a lot of streams early on, like a lot of like Insomniac streams, and like Proximity had a few streams we did, and like just like a lot of those kind of streams, and they're really fun to do. And I think it's awesome that there's a good way to get music out there. And I feel like with like Web3 and like the metaverse right now, it's like the next level of that, because you can attend these concerts in a more like interactive way essentially, and like really interact with people through them. So for me, that's like the next level of like streaming for that. On that side is like this metaverse type stuff. And then NFT is like a whole other wormhole to go down. But
I know. I wrote this question out 5 different ways, and I was like, I'm just gonna ask him, do your best.
Yeah. Like the basic rundown for those that know, they're like non-fungible tokens. They're written to the blockchain, so like you can verify ownership of them. But I think in the future, like the utility of this stuff, like it's a way for artists, one, to like really like have like a connection with the person that's buying from them, and then like your fans can like kind of help fund your career in a new way through them. There's awesome like Blau is like releasing this Royal platform, which is going to give like people the chance to like buy NFTs, but then own like some of the rights to that music from a publishing side and get paid back from it, and like actually accrue royalties, and like kind of the way a label would sign you now, but instead of having to go through a label, you could go through your fan base to fund your album, and then they could see like money back from that. So much cool stuff like that I think is happening. I think ticketing is going to be through like NFTs in the future, because like right now, like you see people getting scammed all the time, like they're like Facebook groups and stuff where like, oh, I have tickets, you want to buy them, and like they email you the code or whatever. But with like NFTs, like if it's a ticket, like it's so easy to just send, like you can verify that ticket right then and there. So stuff like that. And just all the applications I think being built out in like the metaverse and stuff, and like owning like digital collectibles, like everything. We're doing like a drop with Decentraland and GG Games in like a week or two, which is like an autograph jersey and headphones that you can wear in the metaverse. But there'll be utility to those as well, so people who collect those can like win tickets to like actual shows, get discounts on merch, get like, we'll do like some private like Discord type events and stuff that only like holders can be a part of and stuff like that. So it's just like kind of unlockable content through it, and there's just so much in the future I think that it's gonna like kind of be run through this stuff. So I'm like super about it. Kind of like I was like, it's kind of crazy like investing in crypto for a long time, and like really like December, like about a year ago, like I first learned what an NFT was, and kind of started seeing this stuff, and I was like, wow, that's like, this is like the future, and I really like dove into it, and I love it. And yeah, I think it's going to change the music industry and all and the arts in general. So I'm big on it.
Great explanation, Michael. I got to tell you, that was easy to follow. You demonstrated the value. You sold it. I'm fucking interested now. I'm gonna be you a year from now. I'm pumped.
Yeah. So we're doing our NFT collection. It's going to be called the Ace of You. It's going to be 78 pieces that we're going to release over the course of the next couple of years. We're going to be doing the first 3 with I'm Not Art coming up really soon, and they're going to help us curate that whole collection. And yeah, people can bid on them really soon. So if you're interested, check it out.
Very cool. Yeah, this is something I couldn't explain to the 88-year-old president of Tidewater. He's not the market. That's so cool. He's not the market. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I don't know if you met, this is like so long ago, but I first heard about Bitcoin on like, I think it was called Silk Road. Remember that? It was like one of your friends told you like you could buy like drugs off this website with currency that didn't exist. And I'm like, what? Yeah. That doesn't make any sense to me. Now, here we are. Not that we're buying drugs off the Silk Road, but you know, like it's been around and it's got legs now. And it's definitely something to educate yourself on. And it sounds like, I mean, in your opinion, it's never too late to get involved.
It's never too late. Yeah. I remember, I mean, people thought, I mean, this was, man, I don't remember when this tour was. We were on tour. We had Kofresi, who's another Chicago guy. He was opening up that tour for us. And then he played live drums. So he opened up with his set and then he played live drums for our set as well. And I remember him and I just like, we were like buying Bitcoin at the time. I think it was like $5,000 a ton of Bitcoin, which is now it's like past 60,000 a piece. But yeah, I remember just like at that time, like, oh, there's a bubble. It's not going to go anywhere. And it got up to like $20,000, and then it crashed back down really low. It's like 8. And it's just like, yeah, we're like, it's over. And then here we are. You know, I think everyone's been like building on this stuff for like the last couple of years, and it's back. And now I think it's bigger than ever. Like the Staples Center in LA just got renamed the Crypto.com Arena. So
did it really?
Yeah, Crypto.com bought the naming rights for the next 20 years of the Staples Center. So it's getting renamed next month. It's big. So I think
it is big.
I think if you're not into it, people should start looking into it, because it is going to be like the future of stuff. And I don't think it's too late. It's still pretty early on a lot of the stuff.
When the Staples Centers get renamed, people start paying attention now.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. Yeah, that's definitely humble advice for someone who's, you know, learning a lot more about it for myself. And it's awesome. I think, you know, myself, I'm no expert of the music industry, but there's a lot of back end stuff from signing on labels and just hearing about other people's stories of failure or misinformation. And I think it's more important than ever to understand how you can grow and how you can make money as an artist that doesn't just relate in touring or signing the labels and streams and stuff, right? People know it's a tough game, but
I think even for labels, like the transparency of it is just important. Like I know so many like artists who sign to like smaller labels, and those smaller labels might release hundreds of tracks a year, and like the track gets a couple thousand plays, and they're not going to go after those royalties. It's like so little, and it's like the accounting, like you don't bother me. But like with like blockchain technology, like it's all like on a ledger. Like you could very easily like on those songs like create the splits to begin with. You wouldn't have to go through like an accounting to get paid for it and stuff like that. It's just gonna like make things more transparent and easier, and just I think the music industry in general is just gonna like get a lot out of this. Yeah,
absolutely. Awesome. Thank you for that great explanation again. I appreciate it. We appreciate it outside of the crypto world.
I'm happy any way I can help.
Absolutely. So what can you tell us about the rest of this year and going into next year? Any new music? You guys obviously just released a track. What's it called again? I'm blanking.
Drifting Away.
Away. That is a heater. That one does well live.
Yeah, that's a good one. We just with Kyle Reynolds. We met him in a songwriting camp in Nashville a couple of years back. And yeah, that song just came out. It's exciting. We have 2 more songs done that are coming out, and then we have an album that we're going to start writing pretty soon, and probably announce that early next year.
Very cool. And for we got a lot of people here that watch Stone Chicago. You're doing a lot here, sounds like, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I'll be back probably early next year for some stuff at I'm Not Art, and then hopefully some shows as well. So
let's get it going. I need to get another autograph show, and it's been a while. The last time I saw you guys play was the Concord Music Hall show for after Bollywood. That was
wow, that was a while ago. Yeah, that was with Blau. He was the headliner for that show.
That was a good show. Love the Concord.
That was a good one.
Concord's still rocking and rolling, baby. I'm very happy. That's one of my favorite venues.
I don't think I've been there since that show, so it's been a while.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot. They've been doing a lot more boiler room style stuff, actually, like bringing in house and techno acts, bring the stage down. Cool. It's really cool. Yeah.
There's also the new venue, Radius, that just opened up. I haven't been there yet either, but I've heard good things about that. That's like the big new one.
It's crazy. Like Aragon's awesome, obviously, because like everything about it. But Radius is like a warehouse with like absolute futuristic lights, sound. They have another part of the building that's soundproof called Cermak Hall, where they do warehouse type shows. And it's just it's really cool to see Chicago get a place like that, and bring in international acts that normally wouldn't come, just because Aragon may not be the place for them. They got Solomon coming in. I saw Tiesto there. Chris Lake's playing on New Year's Eve. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like acts like Solomon, it's tough because they're not really going to play in Aragon, but they're probably too big for Prism at this point. So it's like, where do you place those kind of acts? So.
Exactly. Yeah. I think they had Carl Cox right before the pandemic. So like acts like that. So it's cool. It's what Chicago needed. Shout out to everybody at Oris who has been doing a great job for house music here.
Yeah. Awesome. All those guys I know. Just talking to Lawrence the other day. So
Lawrence. Yes. He is killing it right now, Michael. I'm sure you know Mike Lane. He just he's going on new ventures, moved away from Oris, and Lawrence is stepping into a much bigger role. I mean, what he did at Sound, he's like fine in a lot of ways. He's a man of the people.
Yeah. So he was nice enough to lend us the CDJ 3000s for the I'm Not Art show. So they were the ones that were.
What do you think of those? It's overkill in my opinion. It's a lot. They're cool.
It's a lot. I have 2000s still, so I haven't had like a chance to like really play on them a bunch, but I think there's a lot that's really cool about them. And I think once it becomes more like used everywhere, and I think it's going to be there's a lot of cool stuff. I think the pitch stuff is pretty cool, like doing like pitch lock with it and stuff.
That is cool.
I haven't personally used it because I don't have them, so I haven't like really worked it into my workflow of DJing, but I think there's a lot of cool features on there.
Yes. Yeah. You don't want to like go up in front of a big crowd on 3000s and be like, I think I'm going to try some things out right now.
Yeah. Let me like pitch lock this. Then you're like, it's stuck and you're like, what's going on? It's like, sounds off.
I played a gig. It was CDJ 3000s and the V10 mixer. And I was like, okay, we're not drinking tonight. I am focused, locked in. You're trying. I played it there again at this place called Les Nocturne. But it was like it was sensory overload at first. I was like,
we did this actually the first time I played. We did this private party in Arizona, and for some reasons they had the 3000s and the V10, and I was like, it was like private party. It's like it was like my first time playing on these. I'm like, all right, cool. Like it was like a small house party, and I was like, where did you get these from?
Yeah, what does this do?
Yeah, but it was cool. I think it was cool that it was in that kind of atmosphere and not like at a club the first time I played them, because like I wasn't as worried about like messing up. It was like it was like 50 people in like a house party type thing.
Yeah, love a good house party, right?
Yeah.
Best.
But maybe more house parties will have 3000 that I'm in the future. We'll see.
that's going to be the industry standard.
Yeah.
Well, one thing in Chicago that hasn't changed, and this is probably across the world, still using broken equipment out there. I'm trying to start saying no to the gigs that I know the equipment doesn't work. I'm like, I can't do my thing here anymore.
I feel like everyone should just like, if they have broken gear, you get like I have the XDJ, what is it, Z whatever one, the all one, and it's
they work,
but they're full size platters.
And
it's I love that thing, and I think I like it more than like the 2000s and the mixer, just because it's easier to move around for like, I don't know, it has all the features, it doesn't lack anything. So like if you're a venue and you can't afford like anything, get that set up for a couple like $2,000 and like you're set. Like
say it louder for the people on the back, Mike. Please. If you're a venue, spend $2,000 because you made that in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Don't have a broken mixer where like one of the channels doesn't work and you're like trying to figure it out and you're like behind it during your set. I remember like early on playing stuff like that where like I had like trying to like plug in RCA cables like from channel channels. Like, why is this not set up right? Why are these this stuff not working?
Oh yeah, we've all got horror stories. I remember first year I moved to Chicago, at Lollapalooza after party wasn't official at all. It was just some place in River North, and that makes it official. Mm-hmm. I was supposed to DJ with a friend. I only had one USB. They did not have an Ethernet cord to link. And I'm asking like the bartender, can I use the Ethernet cord for your guys' credit card? She's like, no, I need that. And I'm like, I am so fucked right now. How do I do this?
How can they? Yeah.
I got 4 USBs every single show now since then, just in case.
That's smart. Yeah, like I remember for a while I was carrying, I don't anymore, but for a while I was carrying an Ethernet cord in my DJ bag because that happened. But now, I mean, I haven't run into this problem in years, but I feel like now, like everyone should have like Ethernet cord. Like they know at this point that it's needed.
I used to show up sometimes too with like my tractor and computer, just in case.
Just in case none of this, you can just plug it right into the mixer and go for it. You never know.
You never know. And you got to be prepared, because the people that own the place, if you got to do that, they expect you to figure it out.
Yeah, they don't care. They're just like, play music. You're like, well, your stuff doesn't, just play music. Like,
yeah, we'll figure it out. Aren't you the
DJ off your phone? Yeah.
DJ. Yeah, sure. Why don't you just put on Pandora top hits?
Yeah. I'll sit up here as I like run through my Spotify for you.
By the way, no bar tab. You got to buy your own.
Yeah.
drink.
Yeah.
You guys really make this industry a fun one.
Hopefully things are changing.
They are changing. Yes, they are changing, man. A lot of those places went under. So I see a lot more respect for the DJs these days from fans in the venues, actually, which has been great. Somebody requested house music up in Wrigleyville recently, and I was like, let's go. I came in here thinking I was going to play some rock and roll, and I was humbled, and I was like, okay.
There's so many like crossover tracks now. It's like guys like Fisher, like with like Losing It. Yes. Like that's just like everyone knows that song now, and that's like a straight tech house song. Like it's not vocal heavy or anything. And
I'll take
like
it.
John Summit's Deep End, like another one I feel like everyone kind of knows now and stuff. So there's certain like tech house tracks out there now that like I think everyone knows, that kind of brings that more into like the mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is awesome in my opinion. Like I know some people hate on it, but like I love that you have these artists doing crossover stuff like that.
Absolutely. People like David Guetta and Tiesto and Alesso, who are not only releasing house music, but playing house music on main stages at major festivals.
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, I love like the new Tiesto track Business. I think it's such a good track.
Oh
like,
my
it's
God,
awesome.
it's so good.
It's so good. Like he wrote such a good track there. It's like amazing vocals, amazing instrumental, just everything about that track is awesome. And it's like a radio song now. So it's cool seeing stuff like that. You know, and it even actually think like some like Dua Lipa's tracks like really like sit on that edge of like being like disco house music, with like a pop twist to it and stuff. So
yeah, I'm a huge fan of S.G. Lewis, and I think his new album Times, pretty cutting edge with disco, house, progressive, like cerebral in some parts.
Yeah,
of it, you know, and he's someone who does DJ sets and live sets too, and I'm going to see him at the Riviera Theater. I'm sure you remember that place.
Yeah. Is that the one that's outside of Chicago? Like the outside? No, maybe something else.
It's north. I think it's like
is that right by Aragon?
Yeah, it's by Aragon.
Okay.
It's just west of it.
In Uptown then, right?
Uptown, yep. It's off the Lawrence Red Line stop. So
there's another one that's like kind of far out, like outdoors. Something else with the R though.
Oh, Sleeping Village, I think you're talking about.
So I don't even remember the name. We used to be with an R, like Ravinia. I don't know what it was called. I have to look it up. But I remember seeing like more like jam bands there and like jazz stuff there though in the past. But
yeah. Hey, I like talking Chicago with you, man. You sure you don't want to come back?
Well, my mom still lives there, so it's nice coming back.
Okay, last question.
Yep.
What's your favorite Chicago food?
Man, I don't know. I'm vegan, so it's tough because a lot of the good Chicago stuff.
It's all meat here. Yeah.
It's all meat here.
And cheese, meat and cheese.
Meat and cheese, yeah. So I don't know. My favorite. There's a place called Beatniks. It's awesome though. I love that place. Recently,
they have a lot of good vegan options.
They do a lot of good vegan options there. I recently discovered that place. Last time we were there, we went there for dinner.
On Chicago? The one on
Chicago. On Chicago, yeah. Because it's walking distance from the I'm Not Art Gallery. It's like a couple blocks away. So we walked over there afterwards and got some food and drinks. And that place is awesome. So I think right now that's probably my favorite place to go eat in Chicago.
Hell yeah. Yes. There we go. A little beatnik.
But if you have any good suggestions of places, let me know.
I will.
I've been there in a while. So
gotcha.
Gotta explore.
Gotta explore. Yes. Well, I'm telling you, you're gonna enjoy the West Loop tomorrow, and you got to make sure you see where the Mid used to be, Michael, because it's like a state-of-the-art building there now, and it's
like condos now, I assume.
It's actually an office building, I think.
It's an office building. Okay.
It's very modern, and I just I look at it and I'm like,
because it was like the Mid was there, and then there was like I think there was like I assume they tore it down. There was like actual still like a factory, like storage factory behind it. So it was like kind of crazy. And then and a pretty like good sized parking lot right there. So
yeah,
it's a lot of real estate in Chicago to
go start right into the Fulton Market sign, just walk straight west and then take a left eventually on Randolph. You'll really enjoy yourself. It's cool. It's really awesome what they've been doing with it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to check out the area.
Awesome. Yeah. Safe travels to you, man. And you're going to enjoy it. And I can't wait to meet you in person soon. We have too many mutual friends at this point. This has been such a fun interview. I had no surprises that I was going to be one, but I'm a bigger fan than I even was before. And shout out to, of course, the rest of the guys in Autograf. You guys are a special group. And seriously, thank you for coming on the show. It means a lot.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Hey, what's up? And thanks for watching that video. You looking for more content now? I got your back. Go to my YouTube channel right now, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you turn on all notifications so you never miss any upcoming exclusive artist interviews, Sherman the Booth clips, new music, live sets, and more. This is your one-stop shop for everything electronic music. Cheers.